What's going on, good people? Welcome back to another episode of the Trading Challenge. Today is day number 31, May 22nd, 2023. We made some trades today, so let's get into it. So, coming into the session, my goals today were to just follow my trading plan and only take my best setup. So, let's get into our analysis and break down what I went through and what I did today. So, let's start our analysis over at 9:30. So, when we opened the market, we had you could call this really like a micro higher low, but not really valid enough to have a support level drawn off of it. So we continue to move higher, and then we establish our peak up here at 33,565. So notice how we created a higher low right here. So of course I drew my circle around it and I extended my support level based off of the lows for this specific higher low, and I use that level of support to go long on trade one, which really just fits into my strategy of me looking for a higher low and then going long off of that support level that I drew. But I think where I went wrong right here on trade one and why I took the loss was because I really want to look to trade more so the higher lows that come after a downtrend, because those are usually the most powerful and those usually give you the best opportunity to actually see that support level hold up. It might turn into a reversal, but then sometimes it also just might be a minor pullback. But when you see this setup happen at higher prices, it doesn't mean that it can't work, because I've seen a lot of scenarios where it does work. It just means that the probabilities are lower because there has already been profit taking that's been going on. So it might not be as many people in that move as it was initially based off of the first higher low. So I think that's what I missed. I mislooked. I forgot to look at for trade number one. And then also look at the fact that even though it's very minor, we still formed a lower high right here in comparison to where we came from. The widget is in the way, you can't see it, but this was actually the highest swing point for this time period, and this was at around 33,580. And then the lower high, this wick right here, was at 33,000, like almost 70-ish, somewhere around there. So not a big difference, but big enough to still be a lower high. So I think I ignored that also. Now coming back down, we had a big move to the downside, big move. And then let's talk about this channel line that I drew, because I initially drew it once we had, I think it was this touch that got formed. Let me zoom in a little bit. So once this touch formed and we had this higher low, this was the higher low and this is where we started from. So I'm like, okay, let me draw my trend line across there and use that as a reference point. And when prices came right back here, I thought about going short, but I hesitated because I just didn't have enough belief in taking a channel. And I think as a trader, sometimes you just got to take your setups when you see them, no matter how they feel or what you think might happen potentially. Because I was thinking that maybe we potentially see a little small pullback back up to retest these wicks and then fall down. But you got to believe in your analysis, and that's what I learned right there in that moment. It's not just about the trades that you take, but it's also sometimes about the trades that you don't take. So that brings us down to trade two. So once we see this lower high get formed, we continue to push down, and then we see another lower high. So at this point in time, I also drew another channel line. So this one was a little bit overextended, so I created a new one from the top of this lower high, and I connected it with this lower high below, and then just continued to extend it down. So if you look at where that line intersects, it intersects right at the point where I took trade two. Now at trade two, it's hard to see because I got in and I got out very quickly, but the directions in which I got out make the big difference, because on trade two and trade three, I took two trades literally back to back. Now on trade two, I did everything I was supposed to. I identified the trend. I said, okay, we're moving down in a clear downtrend. We're seeing lower lows and lower highs. I drew my channel line correctly, and then I used that channel line as an entry point to go short in the market, which is a great entry. But my trade management was terrible, because I not only closed this trade out before it had room to actually run and be successful, because if we look, we had a big huge candle to the downside. I would have been more than able to make my scalp target, and maybe probably could have held it for a swing target also. So even though I went short right here on trade 2, I closed it out because I just wasn't quite sure exactly what was going on, because I was thinking that maybe this could potentially be a higher low, so I didn't want to short it anymore. So I closed my short trade out and then I went long, and then it immediately went against me. So that was very frustrating, and that's usually not a mistake that I make. That's something that's coming back up from my past, like maybe a couple years back. That's something that I used to do. I thought I moved on past that point, but you still have to continue to put in work to be the trader that you want to be. It's never just a process where you get to a final destination and then it's over. It's a consistent process each day, day in and day out, where you continuously work at being the best trader that you can possibly be. Whether you had a good day yesterday, losing day yesterday, it doesn't matter. You just got to keep going and keep getting better. So I think I just need to continue to focus on all of the things that make me profitable. You know, I can't really come in and do 95 things out of 100 and then still think that I can make good money and be successful. It's like, nah, man, you got to come in and be 100% dedicated. And I've been learning that the hard way over these past couple of days, but a lesson learned is a lesson learned, whether you learn it the easy way or the hard way. So those are the lessons that I'm taking away from trades 2 and trades 3. Believe in your analysis and hold the trade, and more than likely don't ever flip the trade to the other side. Take what you take and then you ride it out and accept the results that come with it. So that's what I learned right there. So then as we continue moving on, once we had that sell-off, we actually snapped back pretty tough, came back up to the upside, and then we created a higher low. So once I see my higher low, I circle that, and then I draw my support level based on the lows of the higher low, and I look to go long from those levels. Now on this level in particular, we were never able to actually come back and retest it, which is actually a sign of strength when you're in an uptrend, because usually that higher low would come back to get retested, but when it doesn't, that tells you that the buyers are definitely in control during that time period. So then we see prices continue up where we formed our next higher low. So I circled it up. I drew my support level based on the lows of that wick right here from the higher low. And then I look to go long as prices come back into support each time. Now, I missed this trade right here because I literally had my order maybe 1 or 2 points below, because I'm just being a stickler, just trying to say, man, I want my price and I'm not taking anything else. Well, I also have a rule that's called a close enough rule, where in the market sometimes where things might come to the prices that you want it to, but only be 1 or 2 points away. Like, bro, you just got to go ahead and get into the trade. You can't really stress over those 1 or 2 points, because sometimes in the market things are lined up the way they are supposed to be, but then on other occasions it'll just be, you know, close enough where it'll give you a chance if you're bold enough to get in. But if you're just waiting for it to come back to your perfect price, sometimes it won't work. And I think that's what happened right here. And that's just another example of how what I said earlier is so important about, it's not only the trades that you take, but it's also the trades that you pass up on. Because I passed up on 2 good opportunities for profit right here earlier based on that bear channel line, and then right here based on the higher low support touch. So that's my setup right there, and I didn't take it. So I need to focus on just doing my job, man. My job is to come in and trade my trading plan and take all setups that align with my trading plan, no matter how I feel about what the potential results may be. I have to follow my plan, and that's what I need to work on going forward in the future. So then we come back to trades 4 and 5. Now, this is just an example of how sometimes you trade your setup, I wouldn't say the right way. I traded this setup maybe 80% right, and maybe that's why I took a loss. So let's talk about that. So on trade 4, this was my typical long trade that I look for based off of this setup. I look to go long as prices come back into the support level. So I had my order right there, and as soon as prices hit, I got filled. Now I think maybe what I should start doing is seeing how prices react around that level before I go long, because a lot of times prices will push through the level and then continue up. I think this last trade from before, because it didn't reach, it made me want to keep my rest in order there, where really you can't really think about the trade from before and try and change up what you're doing now. You just have to do the right thing based on that individual trade, and don't worry about what happened before. Just worry about right now and maximizing this trade and having a great entry, great trade management, and then a great exit. So I think that's what I need to focus on when it comes to trades like 4. And I think five was just a frustration trade, because I got stopped out on trade 4. I said, you know what? I still believe in this setup, but I'm really risk averse right now. I would prefer not to take any more losses. So let me tighten my stop loss up. Let me tighten my stop loss up a little bit, because I believe that if prices push back through here again, then maybe they have a chance of moving to the downside, and I don't want to take a full stop loss. So I adjusted my stop and made it smaller, which was just not the right decision right here at 5, because if you look at where I got stopped out, I got stopped out at the lows of the actual candle. So if you look at trade 4, this wick that we made down here, this low, we never came back here. I entered at the same price on trade 5 as I did from trade 4. So if I would have kept my stop the same as it should have been, I would have been able to make my scalp target as I took prices back up to the top of the zone, up here where all of these wicks are located. So that was just like poor management at trade 5, and that's really what eats up at me, because I see the potential that I could be reaching, but it's about getting there and making the right decision. So that's what I'm focused on, man. Just continue to grind it out and keep going hard. Is it gonna be easy? No. But is it doable? Absolutely, and we will do it. It's just a matter of going out there and handling your business consistently, trade after trade after trade after trade. There is not ever a trade where you can say, and let me see what's going to happen, or let me just try something out. No, every trade has to be planned out. It has to be a very serious and meticulated decision. So that's what I'm learning right there from trades 4 and 5. So as we continue moving higher, we create our new higher low. So I circle that up, and then I draw my support line based off of the lows for that higher low, and I look to go long as prices come back. Now on this touch, I didn't go long because I wasn't quite sure exactly what would happen within this little smaller consolidation zone. I wasn't sure if we were coming back to the top to retest it, or if we were actually breaking out, because prices had created such a small range. And I guess, you know, that was a good thought to have, because you got to trust your instinct. And as you see, eventually prices did continue down. Now at trade 6, I was like, okay, if we had the second touch of that level, just based on my trading strategy, I have to go long. And that's exactly what I did. But I think I went wrong when I thought about my profit targets. I was like, look, I'm just going to take my little small scalp target that I usually look for 20 points, and then I'm in and I'm out. Now this trade gave me about 15 points from the top of the entry to where prices made this high, kind of towards the top of the zone, which it makes sense. Like, I'm expecting for a breakout to continue because the trend was already up, but I'm not really a hold the trade for the breakout type of trader. I'm more so of a hold the trade until it reaches a major level and then take profit type of trader. So when prices got back up to the top of the zone, I should have definitely taken profit. You know, that's on me right there, because you don't want to really leave points on the table, easy points, especially when you're having losses and you're trying to get back into positive territory. So yeah, that's the major lessons that I was able to learn today. And you know, I just think it's such a, like I said, like I was saying yesterday, it's such a thin line between success and failure when it comes to the market. It can be just a couple of decisions that make the difference between you being up by 700 or being down by 700, like I was today. So you know, I told you guys my loss limit is 500, so I'm still working my way towards being able to control my losing days and keep them to a certain amount. Now that's something that I have to do manually when I'm doing the challenge, because they don't let you use the auto break even feature or the auto stop limit for the entire day. So that's something that you have to do yourself, and you have to build that discipline. So I'm willing to accept the challenge, man. I want to be able to rely not only on an automated system to protect myself when trading, but also my own automated system that comes from me internally, where I can cut off my trading if I hit a certain number without a computer system telling me that I need to. So that's the discipline that I'm working on building on. I'm trying to focus on being more disciplined, more patient, so I can just trade my strategy the way that I know that I can. I've been struggling these past couple of days, but I think that I just really haven't been in the right mind frame. I've been coming into the market thinking that things are just going to be easy because I have a good strategy. That is not the case at all. My strategy is okay, it's nice, but it doesn't mean that it's going to be easy. It's still going to be difficult on every trade, and you have to come in with 100% focus and make the right decisions. So that's what I'm focused on going forward in the future. I'll be back tomorrow for day 32 on May 23rd. I'll be here at 9:30 a.m. sharp. So until then, good people, take it easy.